I remember now this episode as
So
the
if you look at this,
HDMI
we have very clear
monster.
stone courses, for example, underwater, and it's not just sort of
Yeah,
stone
that's man-made,
courses and
yeah.
walls that we find. This is from a few thousand years ago. What we find actually are a ton of artifacts with it, right?
Yeah, I mean,
they
yeah.
dive, they
Look at the
excavate, they
columns.
pull up ceramics, they pull up stone tools, and they are able to therefore.
I think I know what he's trying to build. The point that he's trying to build is this specific site underwater. We know it's man-made, not only because it's quite evident. I mean, this is clearly man-made, but also because it came with all sorts of, I want to say, I can't think of the word, vases and artifacts that we know and tools. So therefore, there is no. But then he's going to compare it to the one in Japan, and he's going to say, which is debated, and he's going to say we don't have the same amount of artifacts to justify it. Thing is, though, that's anecdotal. If we're going to be honest about this, it is anecdotal because it depends on how old. Like, you can't compare two sites if we don't know the dating, because if there is a difference of even 2,000 years between two sites, then, I mean, this site specifically that is showing is between 3,000 to 5,000 years old. And so if you compare it to something that is 10,000 years old, imagine for a moment, then the idea, we didn't find, say, artifacts, or we didn't find the same number of, we didn't find tools, or we didn't find vases, or it's more eroded, and therefore it doesn't look as man-made. It's kind of an unfair comparison. It becomes apples and pears. You need to the dating is extremely important. Yeah. Let's see. Funny thing for Assassin's Creed, the ISU are created to be like ancient advanced civilizations. Assassin's Creed is sci-fi. Absolutely. Don't blame salt. I don't know, man. Sugar then.
Show that this was an occupied place. This is obviously not due to sea level rise. This is due to tectonic activity, that this is now underwater. Helike off the north coast of Greece also is another one that people have suggested might have inspired Plato's Atlantis, because it happened during Plato's lifetime that city was submerged underwater. And so we actually do find, from more recent times, actual underwater sites aplenty.
And Pavlo Petri, what year was that?
I think it's from about 3,000 years ago or so.
3,000 BC is one of the possibilities, of 5,000 years ago. Well, between 3 and 5. So 3 is a possibility, but 5,000 is also a possibility. It depends. There is kind of a bracket.
So like
it's off the coast of, it's near Greece. It's off the coast of Laconia.
In BC-ish. I could be off by a couple
Are you saying
years.
those are natural blocks at Pavlo?
You could be off of a couple of thousand years, but yeah.
Oh, I'm saying you can see clear stone courses that looks exactly like the type of architecture we have above ground. Mm-hmm. And so the same kind of stone courses. What you have at
You would expect that from
Yonaguni.
the historic period, no?
Huh?
You would expect that from the historic period.
Yeah, we would. And so I would expect, though, if you're going to make an argument for something like Yonaguni, that it would look like architecture. Maybe even the type of architecture that you have.
Looks like megalithic architecture to me. Looks like rock-hewn architecture. It looks like the rock-hewn areas at Sacsayhuaman, for example. Jamie actually pulled up some
we
pictures
see
of
many
those steps.
different blocks at Sacsayhuaman.
Oh, we're getting a little bit contentious here.
We see multiple courses of blocks
Do you know
stacked one on top of
Sacsayhuaman?
each
Have you
other.
been there?
No, I've never been there, Graham.
So how can you possibly talk about it?
Because I've seen photos of it.
Well, I've been there dozens of times.
Wait,
In
how
fact,
can you actually talk about archaeology?
I was there just a few weeks
Wait
ago.
a second.
No,
Okay, but let's look at the images so we can
Let's
discuss
look at
this.
the images, because Sacsayhuaman is a very complicated site. Yes, there are huge
It's getting heated here. The situation is getting heated here.
blocks in the zigzag walls at Sacsayhuaman, but there are also huge rock-cut areas with steps in them.
I don't understand how being there lets you talk about it better than me. You've been there as a tourist to see how archaeologists have conserved it and preserved it and presented it for people coming by. That is not the same thing as excavating a site. That is not the same thing with understanding archaeological
Well,
literature.
it's
To
just
tell me that I've not been there, so I cannot talk
It's
about
obvious that
archaeology.
you're ignorant of the site.
Oh my gosh, you just called him ignorant. But to be honest, he didn't say that he can't talk about it. He just said that, I guess, yeah.
Site, Flint. You're ignorant of the
Why
site
am I
because you don't
ignorant
know
of
what the
it?
site looks like. You don't know
Well,
the
instead of-
huge areas that are
let's
cut out
not-
of solid rock.
Yeah, drink. Yeah, have a drink, mate, because we're going to try to strangle each other in a minute. But I'm having a good time. I don't know what people are on about when they're like, oh no, don't watch it. Why not? I'm having a great time.
Talk about blocks. There's
Let's
much
not
more to
bicker
it.
here and let's look at it.
That's not bicker. Oh, let's not bicker. These guys are going to bicker for the next hour, Joe.
it and
Yeah, let's
discuss
do
it.
that.
Let's look at it.
How do you?
Yeah, let's look at it. Let's go.
Saxay
Pull it up. Come on.
SACSAYHUAMAN.
Okay, got it.
It's beef, guys. This is beef. Salted. Salted
That's
beef.
the blocky walls that you've been talking about.
Yeah, and that doesn't look anything like Yonaguni.
But they confront another area. You were showing us some pictures of it earlier, Jamie. A whole rock-hewn hillside.
I don't know. None of that looks like Yonaguni. This looks like actual architecture.
Yeah, it is actually architecture.
Yeah, I agree.
But this is not the picture that I would like to see.
Oh, my gosh.
Do you want to find it, Graham, and put it up through HDMI? Because Jamie
I
obviously.
mean, I know what he was asking for, but
You
I
had it up a
stumbled
few
across. I
moments ago,
stumbled
Jamie.
across it. It wasn't there on purpose or anything. It was probably in here somewhere, and like how I got
Yeah.
there, I was clicking around. So
Let's see if we can get...
it's
Sucks.
And I mean, you know, part of the goal though is
I'll be honest with you. Dibble's laughter kind of annoys me a little bit.
also have a date. So,
Right.
you know, like some of that stuff that you showed
There.
off the coast of India.
that one there.
Let's see.
Okay.
There's
that's
lots
it.
of this in Sacsayhuaman.
Right.
So, as you would know if you'd been there.
I mean, if you would know if you had been there, cheap shot, ladies and gentlemen. Cheap shot. I'm going to listen to that again. I'm going to listen to that again.
One there.
Okay.
There's
that's
lots
it.
of this in Sacsayhuaman, friends, as you would know if you'd been there.
This still does not look anything like Yonaguni to
It
me.
doesn't look like a series of steps cut out of rock.
I mean, it looks like a series of steps, yeah, but it doesn't look like. It actually looks like a room there. Even is what I see on the left, for example.
It's not a
To
room.
me, it looks similar, but not similar in that whole room area on the left-hand side. That is, I don't think anybody could.
I mean, to be honest, when you see this and you see these steps, I would think it's man-made, but I am no expert. So I suppose it would be interesting to see what the methodology is when it comes to understanding, you know, I think it's called lithic assessment. Lithic assessment. There's a specific term for it. When it comes to how you, there's a set of parameters, I think, that has to do with how you differentiate, for instance, when it comes to tools. There are some indicators. The way, for example, when you do flint knapping, there are some indicators that when you see a stone, you could be like, well, what kind of debris did we find around that stone? And what sort of fractures? Do they look intentional? Do they look intentional? What is the type of stone used? For example, basalt is a stone that was renowned for being used for tool production. And therefore, if we are dealing with a basalt stone, as opposed to a stone that we know that usually people didn't use in the Bronze Age, in the Stone Age, even not even the Bronze, but Stone Age, then that kind of, there is a pattern for it. There is a pattern for it.